So embrace me. Good morning. Welcome to Hope Unitarian Church, where our mission is seeking hope, love, and justice together in community. My name is James Donovan. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, and whatever your life circumstance, you are welcome here. If you are new to Hope, or still feeling new, or just need someone to talk to, I invite you to call Reverend Greg Stewart at the church. Hope's contact information will appear on the screen at the end of today's service. To all who are here this morning, welcome home. Now we all sing together our hymn for gathering. The flaming chalice, symbol of our living faith, burns brightly. Let's say our unison words for chalice lighting. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. We have lit this chalice on the brink of a new year, letting go of what has been, open and hopeful for what may come, renewed, restored, ready to live life fully anew. May we move forward with intention. Today, we finally say goodbye to 2020. Now we say our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. We'll now sing hymn number 58 in our hymnal, Ring Out Wild Bells.
Ring out wild bells to the wild, wild sky, the flying clouds, the frosty light. The year is dying in the night. Ring out wild bells and let it die. Ring out the old, ring in the new. Ring happy bells across the snow. The year is going, let it go. Ring out the false, ring in the true. Ring out the grief that saps the mind. For those that hear we see no more. Ring out the feud of rich and poor, bringing in redress to humankind. Ring out false pride in place and blood, the civic slander and the spite. Ring in the love of right and truth, in the common love of good.
Good morning. My name is Deborah Whitaker, and I'm a member of Hope's Care Team. One of our major announcements that we have for today, as most of you are aware, is regarding our year-end challenge that we have. Through the end of this year, 4 days, not only is your contribution matched dollar for dollar, but if you donate at least $25 to Hope, you will get a jar of Rick Eagleton's famous barbecue sauce. Rick says he's been stuck in his house for months cooking and canning, and he'll share the fruits of his labor with us. For those of you who don't know, Rick has shared his culinary expertise with us as the chef for our barbecue on the hill each year, and he also provided some of his famous sauce for the auction a year ago. We currently have approximately $11,000 towards our $15,000 challenge. That would be a lot of barbecue sauce. I've tasted the barbecue sauce. It is divine and probably worth, I'm going to say maybe $100 a jar. The match will go beyond the $15,000 if we should happen to do that in 4 days. If you want a jar of this tasty sauce for your donation of $25, let us or Rick know, and we will get the sauce to you.
Please join me in the spirit of meditation and prayer with the words of the Reverend Kate Lohr. Great Spirit of life, as a new year begins, we turn inward to reflect about the state of our lives. What lessons have we learned in the past year, and which new ones now call us forward? To whom do we still owe an apology or expression of thanks? And with whom must we draw fresh boundaries? As we pause from our regular rhythms of rush, 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 we open ourselves to new perspectives and possibilities. We give thanks for these moments and for the wisdom they afford us. May they help bring us together in the sacred dynamics of life, so that we, as individuals and as members of this community, might reach our full potential. As we step across this threshold, let this new year be a year of greater awe and gratitude, of deeper kindness and acceptance, and more courageous acts of conviction, for a kinder, more equitable and sustainable world is not only possible, she is on her way. And in the quietness of this sacred community, we can ever hear her breathing. May we now sit in silence, be one in spirit, and reflect upon the year that's ending and the year that is about to begin. Shalom, blessed be, Ashe, Amen.
We have 3 readings this morning. The first is the 9th obstacle. This is an internet meme that was shared by Laura Solomon on March 18th of this year. Your grandparents were called to war. You're being called to sit on the couch. While it's true that we're not being called to war, it's also true that these are challenging times. I would agree that some of us are being called to do far more than sit on our couch. Most of us, in fact, all of us probably. I understand this meme. We need humor. We need to poke fun at this extraordinary situation. And it's healthy to do so. But we also need to be extraordinarily gentle with one another, excessively gentle. Tender even. Some of us are being called to serve vulnerable communities. Some of us are being called to provide comfort, care, and support in new, challenging ways. Some of us are medical professionals and first responders taking risks. Some of us are accompanying the dying. Some of us are holding the fragile mental health of children and adults. Some of us are scared for ourselves, for our children, and for our parents. Some of us are out of work. Some of us don't know how we will pay our rent. Some of us are uninsured and scared. Some of us will need to spend days at home entertaining children, which presents myriad challenges for our own mental health or our child's mental health. None of us are unaffected. Years ago, I did one of those mud run obstacle races. I didn't struggle much with the actual physical obstacles or the mud, but I had a moment of utter panic when I realized I had to change my clothes in a big tent with no privacy. My friend had her moment of struggle when we were in line, and she had no choice but to wait patiently. My biggest learning was that while there were 8 physical obstacles on the course, we all had a 9th obstacle. That's kind of what's happening right now. COVID-19 has imposed 8 obstacles that we're all contending with, but we each have 9 or more obstacles. We have no idea what anyone else's 9th or 10th, 11th obstacle is. You just know they have it. We have no choice but to be gentle, excessively, generously, powerfully gentle. Our second reading is titled Choices by Reverend Marsha Stannard. Yesterday, there were fewer cars at the arrival docks at the Portland airport than there were dogs being walked in my neighborhood. Yesterday, a friend reported a clandestine meeting, a walk with her elderly mother, careful to keep 6-foot distance as they strolled together in the sunshine. Yesterday, schools were closed and bars and restaurants. We no longer gather, laughing in bustling crowds of strangers who might become friends. But today, people in Italy sang together on their balconies. Meals on Wheels drivers put bags of food on doorknobs, backed up 6 feet, and waited to see if the seniors were okay. Today, the technology that we swore was killing our relationships, those phones our youth sink into, ignoring the world in front of them, is saving us, letting us gather, see one another's faces. Tomorrow, fewer people will sicken and die if we keep our distance today. Imagine if all difficult choices had such clear and obvious results, and then living as if they do. Our third reading, We Hold Hope Close. This by Reverend Teresa I. Soto. In this community, we hold hope close. We don't always know what comes next, but that cannot dissuade us. We don't always know just what to do, but that will not mean that we are not lost in the wilderness. We rely on the certainty beneath, the foundation of our values and ethics. We are the people who return to love like a North Star and to the truth that we are greater together than when we are alone. Our hope does not live in some glimmer of indistinct future. Rather, we know the way of the world of which we dream, and by covenant and the movement forward of one right action and then the next, we know that one day we will arrive at home.
Today, we finally say goodbye to 2020, a year in which thousands of people were killed by a virus we'd never heard of until about a year ago. People lost their jobs. Many people had to try to do their jobs from home. We couldn't see our families or friends. Most of us didn't eat in restaurants or drink in bars. Many of us started having our groceries delivered to us, or we picked them up, or we started going to the grocery store at 7 a.m. Many of our children had to start doing virtual school, and they couldn't see their classmates in person. We stopped touching people, unless we lived with them. Weddings were canceled. Memorial services couldn't happen. We can't see our dying family members. We can't attend our favorite sports events or plays or concerts or holiday parties or company parties. And we, at least those of us who care about ourselves and others, and those of us who listen to scientists, started wearing masks. Oh, how do we keep our glasses from fogging up? How do we tell the guy at the hardware store to cover his nose? What if a lady not wearing a mask at the grocery store calls me a name because I'm wearing a mask? Should I say something to her because she's not wearing a mask? There are a few good things that came from this mess of a year. We know we shouldn't be worshiping together in person. So we have found a way to bring these services to you. Thanks, Eve and Joan Bjornsgaard, and anyone else who is making these Zoom and Facebook services work. In 2020, we had to be creative. We had to find ways to see our loved ones. Thanks to Zoom, I think I've actually seen my family much more than I did in 2019. We can't gather for Grandpa's memorial service, so we'll live stream it, and the people in other parts of the world won't have to travel to see it. We'll do our family holiday gathering or birthday party online. We'll have a happy hour online. I've done a few of those. We'll have the book club discussion online. I am grateful for Zoom and Google Meet and Skype and FaceTime and computers and smartphones. None of this stuff is perfect, but it's better than nothing. The church auction, for example, it can't happen in person, but thanks to technology and Rebecca Jones, who always makes stuff happen, it's going to happen. Some of my friends, a few publications, a few websites have reminded me of some of the other good things that came from the pandemic year of 2020. Our pharmaceutical, many couples met, dated virtually, fell in love, and married all in 2020, all in 1 year. Many of us found that we can easily adapt to change when we must. Our pharmaceutical industry somehow found a way to create, test, and distribute vaccines in record time. We learned to appreciate the selfless dedication of nurses, doctors, truck drivers, grocery stockers, farm workers, and many others who risked their lives so that we could live ours. Many of us discovered what is and who are really important to our lives. Drive-in theaters made a comeback all across the country. Jigsaw puzzles also made a comeback. A record number of people voted this year. This year, the Supreme Court ruled that no one can be fired for being gay or transgender. Horrifying acts of police brutality led to an outpouring of protest and reflection, and hopefully the beginning of reform. Many of you with hair, in an attempt to social distance, refrained from going to the salon and embraced your natural hair color. Some of you even learned to cut your own hair. Musicians, actors, and other artists found new ways to entertain us online or outside, maybe in a ballpark. People went outside more, especially in the beginning of the pandemic. Telehealth, teletherapy, virtual ways to get medical and emotional health have emerged and seem to be working. Many of us have gotten creative and adventurous in our kitchens. More than ever, many of us have learned to be self-reliant. In 2020, Tiger King was a thing. We're driving and flying less, so the air seems to be cleaner. Many of us have started new creative hobbies and projects like sewing, painting, writing, home decorating, crafting, playing music. Those are just a few of the good things that have happened in 2020. There are so many more. Now, some of you know that this would normally be the service when we do our burning bowl ceremony. As we prepare for 2021, there are many things that we'd like to put behind us from the old year, perhaps more from 2020 than any year ever. Normally, we'd have a burning bowl ritual during this service, and you'd burn any thoughts, habits, feelings, etc., that you'd like to see go away in 2021. Today, simply write whatever burdens you have that you'd like to see go away, and burn it, rip it up, recycle it, bury it, or flush it. I don't care. For all of us, I just want you to know, let me show you. Here's our burning bowl, and I want you to know that for all of us, I've written coronavirus, COVID, pandemic, quarantine, social distancing, all of that stuff on my piece of paper so that you don't have to. You're welcome. Now take a moment, get your piece of paper. I'll give you just a minute or two. And write something on it. Doesn't have to be flash paper like we normally have. Write something on it, and then, like I say, rip it up, flush it, burn it, whatever you want to do with it. Let's take about 60 seconds now. Hopefully you've already reached for your paper and pen. Okay. Remember, I'm burning up COVID-19 so that you don't have to. May it be so. Our offering, the recipient of our virtual offering this month is Lindsay House. Hope's close connections to Lindsay House through our Star Tree and their current expansion of services to Tulsa area families led them to being selected as our generosity recipient for December. To be eligible for the program, a family headed by a woman must be facing situational homelessness and be ready to change her life. Lindsay House provides a furnished apartment for each family for up to 24 months and requires completion of a curriculum which includes financial literacy, life skills, and workplace proficiency. Women must find a job, and the children must attend school while in the program. The goal is to help these families be independent and financially stable when they leave Lindsay House. May today's offering reflect our highest aspirations for the work of this church in the world. Please give generously online. You can see how to do that, or you can write a check and send it to the church. Here's our offering music. Now let's say our offertory response together. We build on foundations we did not lay. We warm ourselves at fires we did not light. We sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. We drink from wells we did not dig. We profit from persons we did not know. We are ever bound in community. Let's sing our closing hymn, which is number 350 in our hymnal, Ceaseless Flow of Endless Time.
Endless time, no one can check or stay. We'll view the past with no regret, nor future with dismay. The present slips into the past, and dream-like melts away. The breaking of tomorrow's dawn begins anew today. The past and future ever meet in the eternal now, to make each day a thing complete shall be our new year vow.
Our chalice is now extinguished. Let's say these words together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we will carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now we close with the words of Reverend Sarah Eileen Lawal. Out of the flames of fear, we rise with courage of our deepest convictions to stand for justice, inclusion, and peace. Out of the flames of scrutiny, we rise to proclaim our faith with hope to heal a fractured and hurting world. Out of the flames of doubt, we rise to embrace the mystery, wonder, and awe of all there is and all that is yet to be. Out of the flames of hate, we rise with the force of love, love that celebrates our shared humanity. Out of the flames, we rise. Now, get out of here, 2020. Don't let the door hit you on your backside. May it be so.
Time together, and these holy moments give us strength to go down the winding road until we meet again. And my hope for you is a peace that's true until we meet again. Cheer